Good morning and welcome to the church at Lula that resides in my house. Today it's going to reside in the backyard. So if you would grab your Bibles, our study is going to be in John chapter 15, the Gospel of John. So as you're grabbing your Bibles and turning there, I'd like to do something a little different. I'd like to give you a little tour of some of the beautiful things of God's creation that He's doing in my backyard. This is my row of half-white runners that are beginning to poke their heads out of the dirt and going to climb this trellis. This is a row of onions that are just doing wonderful. This year we're trying something a little different. We've planted clover between the rows, and I don't know if you can see them coming up, but we got clover coming up everywhere. This is a row of squash and zucchini. This is a row of tomatoes that are coming up nicely. This is our asparagus bed. We have purple and green asparagus coming up. We've enjoyed about 2 or 3 cuttings from these this year. They're delicious. But the main thing I want to show you, this is the back porch from which my loving, beautiful wife feeds every feral cat for the tri-state area off of. This is what I want to talk to you about this morning. This is my grapevine. This grapevine has to be pruned every year, and it starts down here. This is the vine, this is the trunk. This is where the roots go in the ground. Ignore all the poke salad that started coming up these last few days. If you come on up, you'll see that it begins to branch out. And this is a branch off the root, off the vine. And this vine comes up, and then as you begin, it's already beginning to put out new life. And then if you come all the way up here, you'll see some of these. These are sticks that are left from where I had to prune it because they're not producing. They're not putting out, but it had to be pruned so that it could produce more fruit. And if you'll look right here, if I can get one, let's see if I can find one in the camera. There, that is a cluster of itty bitty baby muscadines, which are a type of grape. So these are about to put out grapes, and we are super excited. And if you come out from this, you'll see that all of them have branched out, and they have branches sprouting out, producing new life, and gonna produce fruit. But then you come around to this booger. And this booger, unfortunately, is dead. I've given it a couple of seasons. I'm giving it one more to make 100% sure that nothing's gonna come out of it. But it is 100% dead, and I'm gonna have to dig it up because it is going to produce no fruit for us. So that's where we're gonna start this morning in our Bible study in John chapter 15. It's a beautiful day today. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I hope as you guys quarantine and do your social distancing that you do take an opportunity to get outside in God's wonderful creation, that you use the time to do that as you enjoy the time you've been given, because that time is a blessing. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, well, give me 1 second because I learned something new. You can't rotate your phone while you're recording on a live stream. Yet another wonderful thing we learned. All right, so this morning, as you get your Bibles out, I want you to continue to pray for your people in your small group that are constantly troubled and concerned. You know, the worry. It's like Brother Randy talked about in his 705 Thursday Night Live. There's a lot of situations where we all keep going back and forth with it's no big deal today, but it's a big deal tomorrow. And you know, it's different. It's a different case for everybody in every situation. And you've got to realize that it's just now in Hall County beginning to pick up. And I just now have learned that I've got a few friends that have it. And if you would please say special prayers for Mary Elizabeth Perkle and Hannah Perkle. They both contracted COVID-19, and Mary Elizabeth works in the healthcare industry, and Hannah, I'm pretty sure, is because she can't handle not loving on her sweet niece Cameron. So if you would please pray for that whole family. I'm actually standing behind my house and in front of my mother-in-law's house. Today's her birthday. Happy birthday, Ellen. So if you would remember her and help her celebrate, give her a call. Everybody that's that's here with us this morning. Hey, Brother Stewart. I see Eric's signed in, the Kegels, the Johnstons, Philip, good morning. And I know I've got friends from all over the world this morning that'll probably be watching. Hello, Mangesh in India. If you're seeing this, I saw you commented earlier. Just wonderful. I can't wait to get back to work with you. So yeah, everybody, please enjoy this time, but also keep it serious to the point to where you realize that time is short and we need to be about our Father's work. So if you would, as we open our Bibles and turn to John chapter 15, our Sunday school lesson and our small group lessons this morning are beginning a new series. And if you have had a chance to read and open your Sunday school books or the literature, you'll realize that this whole series is about messy relationships. It's about how to heal and how to mend broken, messy relationships. And the relationships between believers and the way you relate between believers and unbelievers is different. It really is. And there's different standards and different things that we're held accountable for. But here in this series, we're going to learn about some attributes, some character traits that God expects us to have within us so that we can have these relationships that reflect not just my relationship with Jesus, but Jesus' relationship with the Father. And as you begin to read these and study these, you realize that it's important. Relationships are serious, and that you need to make these connections and keep them clean and keep them healthy so that we can thrive and continue to produce fruit and to continue to do the work of God. So let's just dig right into it. Let's start with verse 1. And right here it says in chapter 15 of the Gospel of John, it says, "I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself unless it abides in the vine. Neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, and you are the branches. He who abides in me, and I in him, bears much fruit, for without me you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is cast out as a branch and is withered and taken and then gathered, and they, not him, they gather them and throw them into the fire, and they are burned. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, you will ask what you desire, and it shall be done for you. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, so you will be my disciples." You know, just like we saw on my grapevine over here, there is a vine, and that true vine comes out of the ground. And the vine has life, and we are the branches. We are the branches that come out of that vine, and the vines that come out that abide, the branch that comes out that abides in that vine, it begins to put out fruit. It begins to put out new life. It begins to put out, things that are useful, things that can be taken. Those grapes can be crushed, and you can make juice out of them, and they can give life. They can take the life from the ground, from the true vine, and give it to a living being. And what he's saying here is that you have to recognize that you have source material, and that source material is Jesus himself. You know, when we were in school, we used to have to write a lot of papers, and my kids are still having to write papers, and the one thing they always wanted at the bottom was your works cited. They wanted to know your source material. They wanted to know that if it was original from you or if it was from some material from where you had learned it, and you had to have lots of sources so they would know that you're not just making all this stuff up. And that's